Phil Simms going to be doing some Giants TV in the preseason. One of my favorite guys. His son, Chris Simms, 8 years in the NFL. Rarely lost at Texas, 26-6. We'll get to the Longhorns in a second. First of all, and I know this means nothing to the radio audience, but look, NBC is feeling themselves. They got the Olympics. Look at the lighting on Chris Simms. It's like salon perfect hair. It's very Hollywood looking. Congratulations to you.
Hey, thanks, man. You know, like I said to you in the break, I'm trying to be big time like you.
Well,
and this is all because I'm in my house right now. And because of COVID really saved me here and gave me a nice little setup. So, yeah, I feel big time even when I'm at home.
So good for you. We've been talking, J-Mac and I have been talking about this. He brought this up about 2 months ago, and I thought it was interesting. We've heard of housing bubbles, Wall Street bubbles. And we've talked about like being wide receiver bubble right now, where nobody is disputing they're valuable, but there's always been this one receiver, an OBJ, a TO, an AB, and you start going Randy Moss, and it's like, yeah, the Patriots didn't win titles, and that's what it's about, hoisting trophies. I like Brandon Aiyuk. I like him a lot. But on that team, he may be the 7th to 8th most valuable player, maybe the 2nd most talented. I could not write a check for $25 million annually for him. What say you?
I agree with you there, right? I'm kind of share the same opinion you do. I like Brandon Aiyuk. There's no doubt about it. He's talented. We know he was a first-round pick. He's got good size, right? He's a good route runner. But at the same time, right, I put guys like Jamar Chase, Tyreek Hill, Justin Jefferson, A.J. Brown in a different class than a guy like Brandon Aiyuk. Yes, he's really good. But how much is it the team around him, like you explained, right? We all know defenses more than not are worried about Christian McCaffrey and what they're doing in the Shanahan running game, let alone I think you can also say how much do you put on Shanahan himself and how he gets receivers open wherever he goes and makes them look successful no matter who he calls the plays for at wide receiver. So, yeah, I'm with you there. You know, I'm big more into, wait, can we line him up on the outside and can he beat man-to-man and run by the best corners in football on a consistent basis? Can he catch a slant and run 70, 80 yards like the guys I mentioned previously? No, I don't think Brandon Aiyuk's in that class. He's really damn good, but to me, not a superstar and special like some of those guys I mentioned.
Okay, all these first-round picks, somebody brought this up to me a couple months ago. Caleb Williams, defensive coach. Michael Penix, defensive coach. Jaden Daniels, defensive coach. Drake May, defensive coach, rookie. Bo Nix and J.J. McCarthy, offensive coaches. And for young quarterbacks, that refinement, that voice is not a little thing. You think it's possible that the quarterbacks at the top of this draft scuff it up a little bit, and a Nix or a McCarthy emerge, at least for the first couple years, as a little ahead of the class?
Well, they certainly got an advantage to all the reasons you're talking about. First off, I mean, Sean Payton, we know, is one of the greatest offensive minds in history of football. So he's going to do it and make it all about the quarterback and make the quarterback look as good as he possibly can. And Kevin O'Connell, certainly one of the top 5 offensive minds in the game right now, especially when it comes to the pass game. So they're all about always focusing everything around the quarter, making the quarterback always look successful. Where some of those other guys you talked about, they might just worry about, hey, let's win the game. Let's be a little more careful on offense.
Yeah.
Right? Let's manage it that way because I'm a defensive head coach. That's usually the MO of the defensive head coaches. But I will remind you, the greatest coach-quarterback duo we've ever seen in the history of football, Bill Belichick and Tom Brady, worked out okay. So let's not judge all of that off of that. But nonetheless, I think we're going to see all these rookies playing pretty early on in the season, if not from the start. I think it's a very talented group, and I'm always one that's pro, get them out there, get them playing. That's the best experience you can get in the world.
So I said earlier today, I talked about perspective. Justin Fields still has a lot of support in the league. He may win the Pittsburgh job. Daniel Jones, bum no good, get him out of here. If you go look at their NFL careers in every crucial quarterback stat, Daniel Jones is better. He's won a playoff game, and he's had a worse offensive line and worse weapons. Now, I'm not saying either is lighting the world up, but the perception is Justin Fields deserves a second chance, and Daniel Jones, I can't believe he's starting. I want to talk about the Giants because the HBO series really put Daniel Jones in a weird spot. His team didn't want him. They tried to move up. You're right next to New York. You're in Connecticut. What you tell me, does he have any support, do you think, truthfully in the building or with a fan base in New York?
I think there are fans that are the smart Giant fans realize, wait, this guy's got some talent. And I do think there is support in the building. Now, I think there are some in the building there that are using him as a scapegoat, right? And I think, hey, there's certainly certain fans that are out there and they just blame everything on the quarterback all the time. But, I mean, you make a lot of good points. And listen, if there was a 2-minute drill at the end of the game, I'd rather have Daniel Jones than Justin Fields.
Yeah.
If we can't run the ball, right, and we have to rely on throwing the ball 40 times a game, I'd still rather have Daniel Jones. And let's not forget that Daniel Jones is a special runner, right? And the biggest thing, Colin, is what did anybody expect Daniel Jones to do last year or most of his career? It's not like, it's a bad offensive line. It's the worst offensive line in football he's been in front of.
Yeah.
They broke the record last year for sacks. And I would tell you, Daniel Jones got out of another 20 or 30 during the year. So, yes, I think Daniel Jones is underrated. I like Justin Fields. He's going in the right direction in a lot of areas. But I think the Bears got rid of him because of some of the things we talked about. He still had to be managed. They didn't trust him in games where they had to throw the ball and attack through the passing game, right? So those are things you don't have to worry about Daniel Jones. Let's see if the Giants, more importantly, can finally put a team and an offensive line in front of him that can truly allow his true talents to show. And I expect them to be better this year up front, and I think you'll see a pretty damn good Daniel Jones as well.
So I can remember covering Oregon, the old Autzen Stadium. Then they put a zillion dollars into the uniforms, the facilities, and the new stadiums. And for a couple of years, they were prettier, but I didn't think they were as tough. They got a little soft. I mean, they led the world in facilities. Now Oregon's great. But I remember that. It's like there was a certain work ethos with Oregon, and then they were the fancy school. And the stadium wasn't as loud. So Texas, my entire adult life, has been the glamour program. The uniforms, it is just, they got Lambos in the parking lot. And my takeaway is that as much as I love Texas football, and I don't know why I didn't grow up with it, it just was cool. But I got to be honest, they underachieve a lot. And now I'm like, they may have the best roster in the sport. Maybe Ohio State is a little better, but my take is, don't they have to win 12 to 13 games this year? Period, no excuses. They even have two excellent quarterbacks.
Yeah, agreed. Listen, they're on the up and up. We know that. The talent's real, right? I knew that last year when they lined up in week 3 or 2 last year against Alabama. That was the first time in a long time I went, whoa, we look the part, right? We don't have to trick it up or do anything. We look like we can stand toe-to-toe with Alabama. And in fact, we look like we might be better. So we are back from that standpoint. Now, the things you bring up, they're real. Listen, we underachieved when I was there, even though we were a top 5 team 3 years in a row. And, hey, maybe I was part of that underachieving and, not playing good against Oklahoma. But, no, I will say in Texas, because the school – it does have so much money. The facilities are so great. You're the king of Texas, and you're certainly the king of Austin. You get treated like you are an NFL superstar when you're good and you're playing for the Texas Longhorns.
Yeah.
When I was in college there, Kyle Shanahan, the coach of the 49ers, used to laugh and go, they treat you like you're John Elway. And I'd look at him and go, I know, it's crazy. But I do think Steve Sarkisian has brought a toughness and an edge to the football team. And I think the team is legitimately super talented, like you explained. Now, the thing is, the biggest thing for me, them this year, we know the quarterback's good. They got to replace some wide receivers and a new running back and all of that. But it's going to be the schedule itself. The Big 12, come on, Colin, it's a 7-on-7 conference the last 15, 12 years.
Yeah.
Now they're going to have to play week in and week out SEC type of football. I think that's going to be the biggest adjustment. We can't have a week of, we didn't play our best, but, so be it. It's just Iowa State. We'll still win the game somehow, some way. That can't happen now, and I think that's what they really got to get mentally ready for.
Yeah. Yeah, I see a lot of W's on that schedule. Chris Sims, one of my faves. Say hi to your dad. I'll be watching those Giants preseason games if somehow I can pick it up on the satellite. Good seeing you, buddy. Hi, everybody. It's me, Uncle Colin. Subscribe here to get the latest from the herd, including exclusive behind-the-scenes videos and more, wherever you may be, however you may be watching. Thanks again for making us part of your day.